here. Remember who you are and allow yourself to trust, to be free from the fear, to share who you are, to give from who you are right now. I want to share with you a little bit of what Lynne says as she looks at the idea that we are here to give. And she said, a basic drive for cooperation and partnership, even sacrifice, rather than selfishness and naked survival, appears to be intrinsic in the biological makeup of all living things. And if you want all the scientific pieces, you have to read the book. But that's what it is. Animals of all persuasions carry out an enormous, all these actions of saying, here I am. One of the stories I absolutely loved was a 440-pound elephant was dropped off at a reserve in South America. It was angry. It didn't have a mother. It would attack and charge anything that came up to feed it, to take care of it, to do anything. Until this little, and they called it, I'm trying to find the story, this tiny little being, a sheep, adopted the elephant. Now, I don't know what courage it took to go up to the elephant, but I know every one of us has an elephant in our life right now. And that sheep went up to it and didn't leave, and simply was there. And now this elephant not only can be fed, but it follows that sheep everywhere because it connected to it. It allowed itself to go outside of, this is who I am, that's something different, and we are connected, and create something larger. And so when we do that, we find something larger in ourselves. Rabbi Hillel, who was a possible teacher of Jesus, said, if I am not for myself, who will be for me? We don't give up ourselves. We give. Rather than domination, our most basic urge is to reach out to another human being, even at cost to ourselves, giving to others, the urge to empathize, to be compassionate, and to help others altruistically is not the exception to the rule, but our natural state of being. In fact, a desire to help is so necessary to us that we experience it as one of our chief pleasurable activities. Many of us have thought we have to fix ourselves before we can give. I don't have enough to give. The truth is, we are here to give. And exactly what we have going on in our life right now, where we are, it may be giving a smile. It may be giving a hug. It may simply be acknowledging someone. Or it may be creating something larger than we ever dreamed. And that may touch lives around the world. All of it is a part of who we are. And that essence that I am here to give is what enlarges us and allows us to realize that. She talked about all these different studies, and she said, our study shows for the first time that social cooperation is intrinsically rewarding to the human brain, even in the face of pressures to the contrary. It suggests that the altruistic drive to cooperate is biologically embedded in every being. Rilling, the scientist, believes that our built-in reward system reinforces our positive choices in helping, and the more we do it, the better we feel. And this idea that that's who we are. So the question I have for each of us, we can take these ideas and we can begin living them, but how do they change the being that we are? How do we allow them to become more of who we are? I believe the first one is when we walk out in the morning and we look at ourselves in the mirror. Instead of saying, oh gosh, look what happened this morning. Who are you? We begin looking at ourselves. I am a being that is connected, that is here, that is born to give, to be a part of the creative essence of the universe. Who I am, where I have come from, is required for the healing of the planet. And then we begin moving throughout our day, not saying, I go this far, and you're over there, and we're separate. But beginning to say, where can I find common ground? For most of us, it's a formula that is the same one that has been used in different groups. One of them that she cites is in the anti-abortion movement. And she said the language that they had to learn to talk with such strong views had to stop being one of murder and violence. And instead, be one where they literally learn a new way of speaking. And the first one was speak in love. Speak in love. Speak in respect. And speak in peace. What happens when the way that we connect to another, it doesn't mean we're not honest. It doesn't mean we don't have opinions, but we're able to stay at the table. In the first service, I talked about Reverend Billy and my mother. We don't agree on most things that happen in this community. We share a job. The commitment is to stay at the table. Sometimes our meetings, and I appreciate her actually not giving me the permission to say this, but I say it with love and understanding because she knows we've agreed to it. Sometimes our agreement is, I love you, you love me, we have completely different styles, let's pray. And with Gladys sitting over there praying, we just simply hold a space, knowing that in between us, there's something larger. And if we will hold that knowing without judgment or criticism, we will find something larger. So you and I are being asked to do it in our individual lives. I'd invite you to pick a place, any place. Usually I like to pick someone else's life where I can tell them where they need to do it, but I would say in your life, and say, I'm a being here to give. I'm a being who is seeking wholeness, seeking connection. It's time to let the fear go. And every moment we choose fear or we choose love. And it's time to say, I choose love. I may not know what that looks like. Last night I went back 5 times into an 11-year-old's room who had slammed the door on me. Said, okay, let's try this again. And she said, really, Mom? Again? And I said, yes. And I said, now let's just try it again. And by the end of that time, we had simply reached the agreement that we would sit not talking, because that was where the common ground was. And this morning, a little girl got up and said, you know, I love you, Mom. Now there's still homework to do tonight. But we have to find the common ground. And I will bet that you have a tough place in your life right now to find that common ground. And I would invite you to remember that you are born to give. You are born to connect. And you are the one that the world is waiting for. Thank you.